Today I'm going to be installing these OEM projector headlights on my Roush Raptor. These OEM projector headlights come with a protective layer, but as you can see it's started to peel off and it's starting to fade the exposed plastic underneath. So today I'm going to show you the steps necessary to replace and align the headlights. Alright, so I'm going to be replacing my headlights with these OEM Ford headlights. These are the projector headlights for the Ford Raptor. I'm going to be taking the old parts off of the current headlights, including the cabling, the lights, and the ballast, and I'm going to transfer that to this. And then I'm going to perform a adjustment to make sure that everything is level. So let's take a closer look at these two lights and I'll show you where the screws go and where the cables attach. So here's the passenger side headlight. There's a bracket here on the top which has two bolts right here and there. Then there's another one here down on the side. So there's only 3 bolts holding this in. Now on the back side there's also some guide pins. So this one is a guide pin. Here's another 2 guide pins on the side, and then 2 kind of push pins that you have on this side. Now we've got a couple of places for bulbs. So I've got the side light down here, and you've got the main projector headlight that'll go in here. We've got another connector here and one coming out of the bottom, which is for the ballast. So we'll put the new ballast right here. And then here, of course, we've got another bulb there. So first I'm going to remove this rubber deflector. There's a little push pin here. If you have a small Phillips screwdriver, you should be able to back this plastic screw off just a little bit, and then you should be able to pull it out either with your hands or a little pry tool. And we'll get this rubber out of the way. Next, we're going to take 3 10mm bolts off. We'll start with these top 2 here. And then we have one more screw here. So I'm ready to pull out the headlight. So now I have access to the wiring, and I'm going to be detaching the lights. So I'll start with this. I'm just going to twist in the counterclockwise position and it should just come out. So that's one light. Here we have the black clip, and there's a little clip that needs to be depressed right here, but when you pull it out, and then here we've got another clip, and this is another bulb. So I'm just going to rotate the entire thing counterclockwise. Alright, we're going to unscrew top little push pin here. In my case, I don't think it's coming apart. We're going to use our pry tool. And then we're going to take our 10mm bolts off. And we've got one more bolt here. Now I'm ready to go ahead and pull the light out. I'll go ahead and detach the white one. And loosen this black clip. Push in this little tab. And this we're going to rotate counterclockwise. Alright, so we have the passenger side new light here on this side and the old one on this side. I've got them laying down on some towels so we don't scratch up the lenses. I'm going to be removing this rubber piece here first. Let's pull on this tab, get that out of the way. So that reveals the light as well as the connector. And now I'm going to take off the ballast, and we have 4 7mm screws. Okay, I'm going to pull off the ballast carefully. I've got 2 wires here, so I'm going to rotate it around so I can see the clips. And I've got a little tiny flathead screwdriver I'm going to use to pry off the connector. I'm going to lift this tab up and then push it away, so that one's unplugged. And then on this connector, there's this plastic housing. I'm going to lift up on these tabs. So I've got that. This plastic clip comes off completely, so I'll remove that, set it aside. We'll unplug the orange plug, and we'll set this aside. I am going to unscrew the 2 screws on the bulb. If you have something like a skinny type of screwdriver for that has a T10 head, that would be more ideal. This is a little bit fatter than that, so I can barely get this in. Okay, that's loose. Let me get my fingers in there. And I'm going to take off the other screw. I'm going to reach in. There's that screw. Now I'm going to try to unplug the connector here, this metal connector. Gently pry it away from the canister here. Now this is kind of a flimsy aluminum, so it may look like it's coming apart, at least the shrouding, but we do need to remove this to be able to get the bulb out. And you don't want to move this too much because the bulb might break. Alright, finally got the connector off. Just gonna feed it back this way. Now we should be able to take the bulb out carefully. Just be careful of this. Could break that easily. Set that aside. Bring the new lens over. Make sure that our connector is back together in one piece. So we're gonna feed this through. Careful with the bulb. Make sure the connector is facing the wire. Now we need to reconnect this. Okay. Make sure it's on there. There. Now make sure the bulb is seated properly. There should be 2 black little pins that it sits on. Put the screws back. Alright, just get that hand tight. Now the other screw, guide this in. Make sure that the light isn't vibrating. Putting the rubber cap back on. Now we take this, turn it around like that. We'll go ahead and connect this wire first. Okay, and take this black cover, and that should snap into place. Take the other connector, connect that, and then turn it back around like that. And now we just need to screw in 4 screws. Well, these are self-tapping, so try to screw them in straight. My 7mm. Okay. Take a look at your white connector, and there's a larger square piece here on the bulb, right here on the side where my thumb is. You need to line that big flat piece up with the bigger flat piece on the opening, like that. And now I'll twist it clockwise. That's locked in. Next, the black connector. Next we'll grab our orange bulb. Same thing on this one, it has a wider opening, so we'll align that. There you go, and then turn clockwise. Now it's locked into position. Make sure your wires are out of the way. Make sure everything's aligned, and there's a push pin here at the bottom. I think I'm ready to start pushing a little bit. Just kind of double check our spacing. It doesn't have to be that tight. Go ahead and put the push pin back, and then put the plastic screw back in. We can just push that on. Before moving on with the headlight installation of the passenger side, I decided to go ahead and test the driver's side to make sure everything was functional. Now by this time it was already getting late and my wife and I hadn't eaten dinner yet, so we stopped for a break and it was already nighttime by the time we returned. Alright, we're going to reattach ground connector. So again, try to find the widest part and feed it into that widest part there. And then I'm gonna turn clockwise to lock that in. Okay, next connector, this black one, goes right here. And this bulb right over here. And this one has this wide square piece, and line that up with the big open spot. That, and I'm gonna turn it. Problem is it's hard to turn. Okay, in this case I turned it clockwise. Just gonna check your spacing. Sometimes, especially on these lights, the spacing is off. Okay, looks better. Gonna put the 3 bolts back in. Putting the push pin back. And that little plastic screw. So next we have to align the headlights. You should find a level surface that you can park on and have a flat wall that you're facing. And we're gonna have a 25-foot line that we can mark away from the wall. And this line should be in line with the front of your projector headlight lenses. You also need to gather a measurement from the ground up to the center of the headlight projector. Now once you have that vertical measurement, you're going to measure the same distance from the ground on the wall. So next I want to measure the height of the center of the projector headlight lens to the ground. And there's actually a 3mm circle on the lens that designates the middle of that. So you want to measure from that point. Just going to make sure the other side is about the same, because sometimes the suspension can kind of be settling just a little bit different. Yep, same over here. 41 inches. So once you measure from the ground to the center of your headlight, you're going to measure that same distance here on this wall, and that's going to be your horizontal reference line. I'm going to turn on the headlights and pop the hood. So now I've got access to be able to adjust both headlights, and we're going to take a look at how the lights are projected onto the wall. So this is what I'm seeing here at the moment. And of course, I measured to the bottom of the tape, which is the center of the headlight. So right now my headlights look like they're maybe a little bit above or right at the top of the tape line. So I'm going to actually adjust both of them down so that I can see the pattern better. And with HID headlamps, you can actually see more of a distinct line between the light part and the dark part. And it usually has this kind of S curve where it kind of dips down further on the left side and then comes up. And so what we want to do is adjust that lower part of it 2 inches below the line. And if you want to see each headlight more distinctly, you may want to cover up one headlight while you're working with the other. So I'm going to stand in front of the passenger side, and you can see the driver's side more distinctly now. Now if I stand in front of the other one, you'll see the other light a little bit more distinctly. So now what I'm going to do is measure from the bottom of my line to about 2 inches, and that's where I want the lower part of the bright lights to be, so that the lower part of the headlights are right here meeting that line, and then it goes up and then meets the bottom of that line. So I'm going to do that for both driver's side and passenger side. Now that I'm actually looking at it more carefully, the bright part of the headlight is right here, and this is where it kind of has that S pattern. So technically I need to put my 2-inch mark over here somewhere. Now normally you want your horizontal reference line to be about 8 feet across. In my case, I'm kind of out of room here, so I'm going to just extend that over. The center of the driver's side headlight is right around here, so that's where I see that little S dip, and on the driver's side I can see it right about here. Kind of dips right there. So here I've got my Phillips, and then you have this notch right here. Bring your Phillips screwdriver down and into the hole right there, and then hopefully you can see that that knob is turning as I turn this Phillips. And that's going to adjust your projector headlight inside. And that's going to go up and down. So I'm going to adjust my driver's side up. And I'm going to adjust the passenger side up. And if it's too difficult to tell whether you're right on the mark, then you may want to do it when it's darker. Since I was aligning my headlights during the daytime, it's a bit difficult to really see the beam pattern during the daylight. So I've taken this screenshot to show you a more high contrast version so that you can see the beam pattern more easily. So this is the passenger side, and you can see the S curve there on the right, and you can see the bottom of that beam is touching the 2-inch tape line there, and it's also touching the top of the tape line on the upper part. Now this here is the driver's side, and you can also see the kind of S curve there on the left, and it's also touching the 2-inch tape line. So I'm pretty happy with the alignment. Well, that's a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and as always, thank you for your support. Please consider liking if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment if you'd like, consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future content. With that said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.